So hey guys, what is up? So happy to see so many of you guys already in the room. This episode, I can't imagine anyone didn't like it. It was just incredible. But if you're in the room, go ahead and say hello, and I'm going to say hi to the people who have already commented. So hello to Thomas, Alexa, Ikali, Yeen, Christian, and Maria. I absolutely loved this episode. And you know what, Alexa, my Alexa is talking to me again. No, thank you, Alexa. Stop, Alexa. Anyway, hi, Luke. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Show. Hi, LaRon. So basically, wow, I'm just so happy to see like these seasons blending, and we had the surprise of Hotel being included, and I can't even imagine what's gonna happen when we blend in Murder House. Like, it's already so good. I can't believe that we are blending all these seasons together, and I just love it so much. And I felt like this week's episode was even better than last week's, honestly, and I really liked last week's, and I just feel like everyone is going to really love this season. I know a lot of people had issues with the last two seasons, which I personally liked, but I just think I feel like the last seasons have had like kind of a similar feel because we're always like in present day in some way. And I really like that, and I like how there's more humor inserted into it, even though it's still like a scary show in some ways. There's still little bits of humor throughout, and I feel like with Murder House and like Asylum from back in the day, it was like way more scary and less humor. But I know Ryan always likes to insert humor and like inside jokes, kind of like, you know, stuff relating to modern day in his stuff, and I personally really like it. So the person we are missing, which I felt when Michael said he was going to go get one more person, instead of it being Madison, I thought he was going to go get Misty. So I know Misty is in this season, but I was really surprised that we didn't see her in this episode, so I don't know how that comes about. I mean, she was definitely mentioned, so I know she's going to come back too, but I'm excited for that. And I thought it was cool that we got our background on Michael. We know a lot more about him now, and he's more powerful than anyone we have seen so far regarding witches. He's the most powerful of all. So I'm going to go read some comments. Mish says Madison's hell was amazing. I think that would probably be my personal hell too, like working at a store taking back returns from crazy people. I thought that was really funny and just so hilarious. I loved it so much. Maria says this is turning out to be a great season, maybe your favorite. Yes, so happy with it. Will is wondering if Misty will get pregnant by Michael Langdon, which is interesting because there's still a lot of debate. Like, is Michael the Antichrist? Is he Satan? Is he just a supreme warlock? What is his deal? From just stuff I look at online, a lot of people are debating over that. A lot of people have strong opinions about each one. Ralph says, we now know that Madison was such a crappy person, she still went to hell, which really isn't surprising, I don't think, to anybody. Yeen says, you wish they would get Nan back. But I think most of us knew that Queenie was going to be in it. She's been on a lot of the promotional stuff. I think there was a photo on Ryan's Instagram last week or a couple days ago with her pictured, so we knew that Gabrielle was coming back to this season. So the cool thing is, even though people are dead, they can be brought back, which is really cool. And as awful as Michael is, I thought he was very appealing in this episode, and I just think the scenes with him and Mead are really funny. I just thought it was super funny. There was like a pentagram in their house and everything when he was younger, and just so funny. So Christian is saying that Michael is not Satan since they showed them saying grace to Satan before eating dinner with Kathy Bates. Well, that is a good point, and I think he's talked about, maybe I'm making this up, but has he talked about his father some? So it's like, is he the child of Satan? The title of this episode, I feel like, I'm going to ask you guys, the title of this episode, if you know what it is, what is that a reference to? Does anybody know what that's a reference to? I know because I'm a huge fan of the show that it's referencing, but the title of this episode was Maybe It's ... Satan, which is really funny, cracked me up a lot, and that's just something that Ryan's always going to do. He's always going to make these little things. There's probably a better word for it, but to me it's almost like an inside joke. Like if you're caught up on other parts of television and stuff in modern society and everything like that, you will catch his little clues to other things. So if anybody knows what that's referencing, or could it be Satan? I'm sorry. Could it be Satan? Does anybody know what that's referencing? Besides the obvious, what is it referencing? It's referencing a show. So that's all I'll give you. So a lot of people in the comments are saying that Michael is the Antichrist. What I also thought was a funny moment is when he was released from prison and the guy who released him was like, he pushed the like jail guy up on the wall. He was like, don't worry, when we leave, he'll fall down, he'll be okay. And Michael freaking like killed him. I know that shouldn't be funny, but it was really funny. He like twisted his neck and everything. I just thought it was so funny. So that line, could it be Satan, is a, church lady reference from SNL, which, I'm trying to think, Dana Carvey, way back in the past, but I am a really big SNL fan. My dad also was a big, or is a big SNL fan, and we would watch all the old stuff and everything, and I was watching that when I was way too young to be watching a show like that along with the scary movies. Yes, thank you. Locke is like, it's the church lady. So to me, that was really funny, but that was something from the 80s, so it was something that some of you probably have no idea. But anyway, I thought that was super funny because SNL to me is like scary movies. You know, my dad made sure I saw like all the stuff, except for we didn't go back into the 70s. I didn't watch those. So I've missed out on that part of SNL. So we need to figure out where is Zoe and where is Queenie. Absolutely. Something else. Yeah, you're right. John Lovitz was in the Satan skits. When you said his name, Ralph, I was like, no, it's Dana Carvey, but I feel like John Lovitz played Satan. Yes, that's what you're saying. He played Satan. Very good. Yes. Yes, well, isn't that special? So if you've never seen that, you should totally look it up on YouTube, the Church Lady SNL. It's funny. I'm not sure if it's still funny today, but I don't know. So Locke is talking about the Portishead song at the end. I thought that was great too. I love that song. What's the name of that song? I loved it. I thought it was perfect. Of course, we had the iconic moment where Michael was walking back with Queenie and Madison, and Cordelia fainted. I thought that was really, really cool. What was the Scream Queens reference? I'm not sure if I caught that or not. Okay, can I read some more of your comments now? Solomon's hoping we learn more about the Warlock. So we were introduced to this, and we kind of figured out we were going to be introduced to it after watching last week's episode because the preview showed, pretty much everyone figured out he was a Warlock, whatever. So, and then we got, what's his name? Why have I forgotten his name? He's like in all the, it's like on the tip of my tongue. One of the guys who was one of the Warlocks, Cheyenne Jackson, was playing one of the male adult Warlocks or whatever. It was interesting that I feel like were they having the Warlock school in the same place that's like the bunker for the apocalypse now, right? Oh, Adina Porter actually makes me laugh so much, and I love her attitude in this season. I really like her attitude all the time because she was like, no, I'm not going down for this, like, I struggled out for so long being a talk show host, blah, blah, blah. And Nina's saying, did I know the black guy who was one of the teachers is Adina Porter's brother, Billy Porter? No, that's a little great fact there. I had no idea. So Cordelia is like mortified that a man, first of all, and that someone out there is more powerful than her and the other witches and everything. And unfortunately, Glory Box, thank you. Portishead Glory Box. Yes, I love that one. So she is absolutely devastated. So I feel like she's definitely going to be at odds with him, and that's why she's come back after the apocalypse and everything to revive the witches. So we found out that Coco and Mallory were actually witches, but they had a spell placed on them so that they were protected during the apocalypse. Those people were already a part of the School for Witches, or whatever it's called. I can't remember the name. I was so happy to see the same setting that we had in New Orleans for Coven, which was cool because I've told you this a million times, but I've been to that house, or like outside that house. I think someone actually lives there, but I was like, it's so good to see that house again. It's a really beautiful house. Of course, I didn't go inside, but so cool to see them back in that setting, which we also know they're going to be back at the actual murder house setting, which I'm just freaking out because I still think that's probably my favorite season. So, again, it was also good to see Thaisa back in the show. I've loved her since season 1. I'd never seen this actress in anything until this show, so I always enjoy seeing her and seeing her have a larger role. Alexis says, you think the first 3 episodes of the season were pointless and the crossover started with this episode. So we got just a tiny bit of the crossover last week. This is episode 4, right? So, okay, so you think the first 3. Yeah, well, we're jumping around a lot, and we're going to jump around more because we have to include Murder House, but remember that next week's episode is the big twist, so I don't think the twist is going to be introducing Murder House because everyone knows that's coming, so I still don't know. When we had a huge twist before, I was able to predict it and figure that out. But I don't know what our twist is going to be. Does anyone have any ideas? Do you feel like they've hinted around at what it could be? Because it's next week's episode. We did see some previews, but maybe that's just a tiny bit of what's going to happen. So Maria is wondering what makes Mallory different from the other witches, which is a really good question. It was very cool what she did with the rose, turning the petals into butterflies. I thought that was so cool. And I also wanted to say that I thought Billie Lourd looked really beautiful in that scene, since she lost the crazy top knot and she was no longer in those clothes from the apocalypse. Locke says, you think the next episode we find out that Michael actually killed the top 3 witches and they were brought back. Michael said he thought he killed all of them. That's interesting. Never thought about that. That's really interesting. Will saying the twist is going to be vampires. I didn't see the vampires. I don't know. Really? I mean, hey, I think that would be cool. I'm down with vampires. I like vampires. And we've never had vampires in this show, right? Or have we? No, maybe we have. Was that in Hotel? Were they vampires in Hotel? Because I didn't watch Hotel. I'm terrible. So Ralph thinks that Mallory is like Misty, a natural witch who uses nature for spells. And this is what happened with the flower, which is very possible. Do you think, though, Mallory is stronger than Misty or not, even though Misty is supposedly dead, but we all know she's probably coming back. Well, I'm pretty sure she's coming back. Food is my friend is wondering if everything we've seen so far is just a vision. Also, could it be a dream? Dream sequences are kind of overused, but I don't know if they would go that route, but is it someone's vision or what's up with that? Okay, I really should have watched Hotel because I really like vampires. I don't know what's wrong with me. Jennifer says, I wonder why Madison said to Mallory that iconic line of bet you'd seen the last of me. Did they meet before? Right, so that is what she said to her last week's episode. Well, did they meet in the school? Is that where they met, since we know that Mallory was a student there? Definitely, I think Mallory is some kind of supreme-ish person. Gregory was wondering if Mallory is an archangel or an angel, which would be like maybe Mallory is going to be the person who can take on, maybe she is the exact opposite of Michael, so maybe she's going to be like the only person who can destroy, kill him, etc., Luke is wondering what if Coven meets Murder House characters. Well, I feel like everything is going to be like intertwined, so I do feel like everyone's going to meet everyone, which is really cool. Sam says Mallory is hinted as being a direct descendant of the first Supreme, as Zoe said her bloodline comes from Salem directly. That is true. That's a good point. I'm seeing a lot of different comments here about Hotel. Some people absolutely loved it. Some people hated it. I did start watching it, to be totally honest, and I had a lot of trouble getting into it, and this is before I covered it for YouTube. Now, if I was covering it for YouTube, I probably would have stuck with it just to see, but I know, like, my parents watched that season. They still watch the show. They actually gave up on Roanoke. They hated it, but they watched Hotel, and that's, like, their favorite season, and they kept telling me, like, oh my god, it got so much better, so I felt bad, and then I feel bad because I see a lot of you guys say it's good, but there's always people that say it sucks, so I don't know. Ralph says bad story planning, not explaining Queenie's weight loss. She's clearly lost weight since Hotel. Good for her. They could have really just said the food is so bad in hell or whatever, so she's lost weight. They could have kind of made it a joke. That would have been kind of funny. I just thought it was super funny that she was stuck playing cards forever. I don't know why. Locke says dying is a great diet. Yeah, I think when you're dead, you don't need food anymore, so it's kind of easy to lose weight. Chase says Myrtle Snow said when they were in Warlock school, it smells like Chanel No. 5. I didn't catch that. That's cool. I like that. And I think that that's a good way to, nod or allude to Scream Queens without what we talked about last week in the chat, where people were wondering if characters from Scream Queens were going to be their characters from Scream Queens in this show, which I was like, no, we don't need that. But making little side jokes and whatever, and little allusions to that show, I think is totally fine. Mr. ZTV says it's not like you're going to starve to death. Well, that's true, because you're already dead. So when you're dead, nothing worse can happen, really, except that you're in your own personal hell, which is really terrible. Andy says they tease us for the witches on episode 4, and then they just show Michael growing up. You didn't. So Andy did not like this episode. Well, I felt like we got a lot of the witches. I don't know. I felt good about it. And I really liked Coven. I don't know, maybe, I don't know if you liked Coven or not, but I felt like we got quite a bit, especially since they went to the house in New Orleans and all of that. I don't know. Yes, it was really funny. Ralph says that Madison was happy to see Queenie, because she freaked out, and she was like, get off me, bitch, whatever. She still doesn't like her. Very funny. Who would like her? If I've missed your comment, just comment again. I usually just see the last couple of comments, and I don't see the ones back up at the top, so I'm not trying to ignore anyone. Sam says, you think the twist is that Cordelia will have to do the sacred taking and that she will fight to save the Coven from Michael, but she will die? No, sad face. I love Sarah as Cordelia. I think she looks really beautiful in that role as well. I really like the costumes or whatever for Coven. That would be such a fun one to be in if you got to be in any of the seasons. If you got to be in any of the seasons of American Horror Story, or like if they recreated some of the seasons and you could play a role in them, which one would you want to be in? I think, even though I really loved Murder House, that it would be super fun to be in Coven and play one of the witches. I think that would be so fun. Solomon says Cordelia looked to be deteriorating in the trailer for episode 5. You're curious as to what that is about. Yeah, what is up with that? I don't know. I really like her, so NZ says he would like to be, I don't know if you're a he or a she, I'm sorry, but NZ would like to be in Murder House. Chase would like to be in Coven. Christian would like to be in Hotel. I just think that's really cool. Or you could just, even to be like an extra, or just go to the set. I don't know, just to like go to the set and watch the magic happen. That would be fun. So Lauren says Sarah is playing 4 people this season. She was on Jimmy Kimmel talking about it. So far we have seen her play 2. So we know she'll be herself from Murder House. And then who else? Makara says Mallory is probably a rising supreme, and that's why Cordelia is weak. I think that's a really good point. CIA Mouse says, how would I feel if they kill Cordelia, which you think they teased her death in the trailer? Both characters dead. Rip, Venable, and Cordelia. Well, the good thing is Kathy Bates is still around in some, flashback form as of now. Is she going to play other characters? Maybe. Of course, she was not in Murder House, I don't think, right? Kathy Bates? Or if she was, remind me, because literally that's been a few years ago. But as far as Cordelia dying, I think that would be super sad, and I would just hope like someone could bring her back or something. I don't want her to die. At least you have the hope that we can bring people back. And usually on shows, I don't like when they kill people and then they're like, well, they never really died or whatever. But with this show, I'm okay because it's supernatural and that's to be expected. But a lot of shows that are not supernatural are trying to do this thing where they kill people and bring them back. Or they're like, wait, they didn't really die when we've seen them totally dead. So I hate that on other shows. But with this one, I don't have a problem with the fact that people can come back because there's no real rules or anything in the land of American Horror Story, So Misha's asking a great question. When will Evan come back? We saw him at Hotel, which is not enough because I really like Evan. And I know he'll be back, but what's he going to be back as? Well, of course, he's got to come back as Tate, and then he needs to come back as his Coven character, possibly. I don't know if we have to have that character, but we have to have him as Tate, absolutely. DBS says Kathy only joined the cast in Coven as the amazing Delphine Lalaurie. So that's what I was thinking. And then she's I feel like she's been in like every season since then. Yes, Shannon, I might have been talking about Pretty Little Liars. Maybe, maybe not, maybe. But I've actually seen that on other shows, and it's kind of like a trend. And it's like, no, that is so weird, and that makes me not want to watch like your show. NZ wants to see Lana Winters. Yes, that would be so awesome. So Gregory thinks we'll have a twist a la Final Destination, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen those movies. Cordelia dies, and when we go back to her in a moment in time and see that this was all a premonition. That's a very interesting thought as well. Lionel says, do I know how many episodes? I believe there's 10 episodes this season, which is really short, like really short. Locke says, a lot of people think Myrtle was brought back because Queenie died and was a top witch at the end of Coven. Myrtle's funny. I really like having her back. She's awesome. But also, like, when do we get Jessica Lange? And we also know that Joan Collins, who was Evan's grandmother for like 1.5 episodes, is going to play different people. So we know we'll see her again. Cordelia did seem different, as Fred is saying. Sorry, Chase. She did seem like very concerned. I mean, I just think the fact that she knew about Michael and she saw what he did, especially when he went back and got Madison and Queenie, she was like, no, like, this is so terrible. Like, she was just devastated, you know. So we definitely need Jessica Lange for Murder House, I feel, because she was like such a huge part of that. And a lot of you guys are saying she's going to be in episode 6. One thing I was wondering is, I can't remember the different characters she's played, but Jamie, the girl who was like her granddaughter, her real name is Jamie. She was like her granddaughter in season 1 Murder House, and she was in Coven. She's the woman with Down syndrome. I follow her on Twitter. I'm surprised that she's not in this in some way, like, because she was a character that was pretty big in Coven and Murder House, and I'm like, is she going to be on? I hope she's on because she's cool. She's a really good actress, and I think it would be cool to include her, you know. So DBS says the Hotel Cortez is open in 2022 after the bombs. The apocalypse must be a vision or something. So a lot of people have been talking about that because it just doesn't add up. Either hotel didn't really happen or apocalypse didn't really happen because the timelines, if you know, because everything's connected, and we couldn't have even had the hotel season if the world ended before that. So we do need some explanation of that. So that kind of leads a lot of people to believe that this stuff that happened with the apocalypse didn't really happen. Okay. Jamie Brewer, yes. And someone said they really, there you go, Mr. ZTV says you really love Jamie Brewer. She's awesome. Yes, she's so awesome. And I know there's supposed to be a lot of people coming on this season from past seasons, and I don't think they've told us everybody, so I could definitely still see that she's coming back, you know. Ralph says, what if Allie Mayfair Richards is the president and she started World War III? That would actually be so funny. I would actually really, really like that a lot. That's really funny. So yes, so this episode was a flashback to 3 years before the bomb. So, you know, we had Michael with the shorter hair and Michael learning like what powers he had and learning like just how strong he was and everything. Mish says, you wonder if the twist is Murder House characters are watching this from purgatory. I don't know, like, I just cannot wait to get Murder House intertwined into this, and that's got to come soon, because we only have 10 episodes. Well, we've got to get on that because next week is like the halfway mark. Shannon says, you know, Connie Britton's coming back for 1 episode, and I've really missed her, and I've probably said this a million times, but she was just in season 1, and I don't really know why she never came back, but I'm really, really excited to have her back in the show. And also, I can't think of this woman's name, but she was also in This Is Us. But the woman who was like the maid in season 1, that actress, I don't know. She was also in The Walking Dead, and I don't know why she has not ever come back to this show. Maybe she has and I've forgotten, but if she has, it's been a really, really long time. Oh, Christian wants Pepper back. Yes, I remember Pepper. Oh my God, so funny. So I think that girl's name is like Alex or something like that, or Alexis or Alex, but she played... I think it was like the first season of This Is Us, and she was a pretty big character in Walking Dead. So I'm surprised we really haven't seen her again, because she was like a big character in season 1 Murder House. She was in Coven too? Okay, because I couldn't remember. Ralph says that Michael's age is still a puzzle and the real Mrs. Mead did not die. So I was trying to figure out what happened with Mead, who is Kathy Bates. Did she, I mean, because we saw that 3 years before the bomb, she was around, right? So what's going on with her? Did she die before the apocalypse? Because we know Apocalypse Mead is a robot. So yes, Alexandra, that's who we're talking about. The redhead maid, the young one, but she was actually old, but he would see her as young. Really surprised we haven't seen her do more of this show because she's been in like tons of other shows. So I wonder what happened with that. Will is wondering, I think, about me. Did she blow up in the blast? But, like, I don't really understand why a robot of Mead was created if she was still alive at the time of the apocalypse. Why didn't they just move her, like, why didn't they just put her on the plane as herself to save the real her? Something's not making sense here, right? Yes, Chase, the old version of Alexandra is Frances Conroy. Yes, absolutely. So I'm trying to figure that out. Gregory says, interesting how the magical world is very similar to the normal one, only with the gender switch. They even had Cordelia and Myrtle belittle warlocks as genetically weak. I think that was definitely a point in the show where Ryan was making a social statement, as he does a lot, where, you know, typically nowadays, or has been for a while, everyone is quick to think men are the stronger sex and that men are better than women always. It was very funny that they definitely made this point. It's definitely something Ryan wanted to make a point of, how she was like, but women are the strongest, and there's no way that a man is stronger, and there's no way that a warlock is stronger than a witch. I thought that was really interesting. Adina Porter's character is one of the resurrected witches, and she was she was one of the saved people in the apocalypse, and she was like a former talk show host that was not that popular or something, or she was like failing in ratings and got canceled. Christian says Mrs. Mead was there as they were taking Michael out of jail, but the warlock didn't see nor hear her. Why? So I don't know. That's what's confusing to me. Was she not alive at that point? Was she always... Because we saw her backstory, so she was like a real person. I don't get it. Yes, Alexandra Breckenridge, who we were talking about, who played Maura, however you say that name, and Kaylee was in the 3rd season. Okay, Mr. ZTV says Adina Porter is a discount Oprah. She had $1 billion, but her show was a flop. Funny, and a very funny way to say that. I like that. Food is My Friend is asking, are there any seasons you would like to see have a crossover? Well, if someone had asked me that before knowing this was going to be the crossover, I would have said these two. I really feel like those were perfect, and I think those were probably the fan favorites. So, honestly, I don't think... that would have been my choice. I don't think we could have gotten better than that, is basically what I want to say. Wit Dog, hi, good to see you, says Adina's character is connected to the voodoo from Coven. Don't think she knew that until they told her. So this is, I don't know if they tried to get Angela Bassett on this season or whatever, but maybe that didn't work or something. So like Adina's character is going to be maybe that connection there, or maybe they never wanted to get Angela back. I don't know. I would feel like they would, but we without her, we lose that voodoo element from... Well, it was her and Kathy Bates, so I don't know if we're going to tie Kathy Bates back in with that, but I feel like they wanted to bring that connection back, so they're using Adina for that. So Jared says Michael is looking for evil souls, so maybe he is going to revive the trapped ghost from the murder house to build his new world. That would be really cool. And we know all those people are coming back, so for Murder House, so it doesn't really matter that they died. Wasn't that a great ending to Murder House, by the way? So good. I miss it. Solomon says you hope that cult will be incorporated somehow, especially since the hotel connection was unexpected. Sure, like I'm down for them connecting all the seasons. I don't care. You know, he keeps, like Ryan kept saying, it's going to be like surprising. Like, you know, he talked about Love Boat, which you guys explained to me. So there's going to be a lot of different celebrities or whatever. intertwining throughout the season. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they connect all the seasons. Like, really, I wouldn't. Vasilis says Coven and Roanoke are connected. Also, Freak Show and Asylum, Murder House, Coven, and Hotel are with Apocalypse. And I had a theory about Asylum. Do you think they will connect them all? Yeah, I think I just said that actually, which is weird. And I'm just reading your comment. I feel like all the seasons are connected. I really do. And I feel like very strongly that all the seasons could be represented in this season, which honestly, I probably would have, if I were Ryan, made this if I knew this was the last season, that's what I would have done. So it's a little weird that we are tying in so many seasons into this season, but we're going to move off into like a new season with a new theme next year. I don't know. So very funny as Luna Moon is saying that Lindsay Lohan, everyone thought Madison was Lindsay Lohan. It was really, really funny. I really love that. So funny. DBS says the only season so far that hasn't been tying in seems to be Freak Show. Did we have an Asylum tie-in already? Oh, that's what I did a whole video about. Hello. I was like, I'm not really sure if that's connected, though. That's the only thing. Like, I was making these alien references and everything, but now I'm not really, really sure. We'll have to see. I don't know why I asked that. Hello. Ralph says all 3 witches were dead on Halloween. This is why they were in a hurry to retrieve the sisters due to they were on a time crunch. Locke says they're all connected. Roanoke House, Murder House, and the Hotel Cortez. Madison is related to the Montgomerys. Yeah, I really feel like they're all connected. And there's probably some video out here on YouTube where someone has explained how they're all connected. Somebody who is super smart, because that's a lot. That's a lot. Fernando says you thought they were going to tie in Murder House at first during the Halloween episode since the spirits are free to leave Murder House. I just can't wait to see how that's tied in. I'm really, really excited. So I keep thinking like that might happen next week. I really think it will. So I'm really excited. So Mish says, what if all the enemies from all the seasons come back, like Twisty, Axeman, Cordelia, Bloodyface, Tate, etc.? That would be interesting. Yeah, I would be down for that. Yin is asking, what is the point of the boy and the girl who were sleeping together? Right? Because I had like a big theory on them, but then we've left them and they're dead. I don't know. Wit says, you thought the young guy and girl were Kit Walker's kids. Yep, that's what I thought. But apparently that won't work. You're right, because, well, that was in the 60s, so they would be super old by now. But then again, I could also say that in the realm of American Horror Story, do people really age the way they're supposed to? Because, I don't know. I feel like when we see old characters, they're the same age too, like characters from other seasons. So maybe they died when they were young. Maybe that's the age they died, so they're stuck at that age. I don't know. I mean, I'm just not going to go by the fact that it doesn't logically make sense because, well, when does logic matter with this show? So, did I see the pic on the wall at the outpost? It looked like the dad on Murder House. No, I didn't see that. Totally missed that. T. Colk says Timothy did see the 666 prophecy in the mirror. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we'll have to go and pick those 2 characters up in some way, or those 2 actors will play somebody else. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know where we're going with that. And like the fact that we've lost Evan now because he's dead, so he's got to come back as other people. I don't know. It's interesting. Makara says you're excited to see Tate and would love to see what the dynamic would be like between him and Michael. So excited. I cannot wait to have Tate back. I have not seen A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga, but I would like to see that because I do like Lady Gaga. There were also numbers in the jail cell with Michael Langdon. Were they like 666? Because I didn't see that either. There's a lot of stuff there. Oh, 982. So Ralph says the witches are only 7 to 10 years older from Coven. So we know that they've aged that much? Or like if you die, though, do you still get older? Like, is Queenie older? Or is she, like, preserved at the age she died, right? I don't know. I mean, it's confusing. I don't know. King says you feel so bad for Mr. March. He misses Queenie. Yes. Oh, yes. Funny. But yeah, I really love this episode. I just thought it was great, and it had little surprises in there, and I think that's kind of what we can expect for the rest of the season. Little surprises, surprise people from other seasons. I just can't wait. Luna says, did I catch the Scream Queens reference? Somebody mentioned that earlier, I think Chase, with the Myrtle talking about Chanel number 5. That's really cool. So Sam thinks the final fight will be the witches versus the warlocks, as the warlocks will try to use Michael to gain power. But we also have to have Murder House incorporated in here. So even though we have, a heavy presence of Coven, do we get Murder House? How do we intertwine that for the end of this? I'm not really sure, but I'm excited. I don't know. So Fred says they're probably going to revive some of the original Apocalypse characters because you doubt they leave it at that. Emily and Timothy were clearly somewhat important. I agree. I think it's possible that anyone who is dead from the Apocalypse can come back. So, I don't know. Yes, so Ralph is just saying that Coven takes place in 2011, Apocalypse is 2018, 2021. So we've had that time difference, but I'm feeling like Madison and people like that literally are the same age when we left them at 2011. So I'm just wondering with Emily and Timothy, could they have died at the age they are now? And that could have been, who knows, long, long time ago, which could still make it possible for them to be Kit's relations, somehow kids or something. Because if you die at a certain age and you come back, you're not going to come back as 30 years older because you would just come back as yourself when you died, right? I don't know. Just something to think about. I don't know how deep they're going to get into that. I don't know if they are trying to connect Asylum or not because we've dropped that for now. We've dropped those characters, so I don't know. Solomon says perhaps Timothy is a warlock and Emily is a witch, so they will take down Michael, just make them relevant. Right, so we don't know. They could be 1,000 years old for all we know. They could be from the 1800s. I have no idea, They could have been dead a long, long time. You just never know. Brian says, theory, Mallory is going to be the next Supreme and going to have to defeat Michael. It definitely seems that way, and I think that was sort of hinted at when she was doing the stuff with fire, and he was, so amazed. Shannon says maybe they're all actually dead, and when they get to Murder House, that's when they will find out they died. So I think it's a good possibility that everyone we've seen so far is dead. We already know some of them are dead, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're all dead. And maybe since they're all dead, none of this is really happening. Or it's kind of like Madison is in a personal hell. Maybe their personal hell is making them think there was an apocalypse, and they've come back together to do whatever, and they've come back to life to do whatever, but this is they're getting nowhere because it's not even real, and it's just some other version of hell, or it's the, whatever you call the place, purgatory, I don't know. Wit says, you really hope that the other people that are supposed to come back from Murder House won't be just flashbacks. Right, I'm also hoping that we get a strong connection with Murder House like we're getting with Coven, and we're not just getting one episode where we're flashing back, but since Ryan has said it's the crossover season, I don't think he would just devote an episode to Murder House and move on. So Ralph says Queenie and Madison, when brought back, would start aging again. Madison died at 17 and Queenie at 20. So I don't know. Is that how that works? The people just, when you come back, you just become a person again? I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like they look the same, and I know in real life those people have actually gotten older, but it hasn't been that many years. So even if they have gotten older as characters, we wouldn't really be able to tell, right? Because it hasn't been that many years. Food is my friend says, do I think the Murder House ghost will return in flashbacks? Kind of what we just talked about. No, I mean, no, I hope they come back, and I hope it's kind of like how we're handling the Coven characters, and they come back and they're in whatever real time we're in, and they join forces or something, so that it's not just, I don't know why there's always a gnat in here when I do this. So it's not just, flashbacks, and it needs to be on the same level of importance as Coven. We don't want the Coven to be considered more important this season than Murder House. That wouldn't make any sense because it's supposed to be the crossover. Oh, Jonathan says, you guys were telling me episode 6 will be Murder House, and then episode 6 is called Return to Murder House. So, yep, that makes sense. But I'm going to wrap it up here. So if you are watching this after it is aired, feel free to still comment. I go back and check comments every single day and reply to people. Also, just to let you know, some people have still been asking me, is this the time that we're going to do these chats every week? It is. So Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern will be the standard time to do these types of chats. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Please thumbs this up if you enjoy these types of chats, because I really enjoy them. Thank you so much for being here. It's so much fun. I'm still trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I think it's been like a year or something since I've been stuck at a little bit under, but a lot of that's my fault because I haven't been as active. So I would really appreciate if you subscribed, if you keep watching, because I mean, to get to 10,000 is like so cool for me. So I would really appreciate that if you watch and you just haven't subscribed yet. Thank you so much. But I hope you guys are having a great week. And yes, for those of you who watch How to Get Away with Murder, I'm watching tonight and we'll be doing that chat 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. So I will see you guys soon. Bye guys.